Hey there, so this is Sean Mathis, and today is Monday, December 10th, 2018, and it's time for another week. Just getting started. It was a frustrating week last week, did not do well at all. It was a very bad performance week, but did a little soul searching and a lot of thinking and some reading. I'm not going back and looking at indicators and seeing what I can add to my chart and stuff. As I did add some things, but it'll never be indicators. I don't trade indicators. I trade price action and order flow. So if there's some kind of derivative of that, I guess you could also say every indicator is some kind of it uses price action and order flow somehow, but I'm really only concerned with seeing price, bid, ask, and price, time, and volume. So I do explore and change some things around visually how I can look at that stuff. So today was an okay day. I had some issues with my platform early in the morning, unfortunately, so it created some problems for me. I'm still on demo, and these demos only last 2 weeks because I transferred my live account back to Gain, which it was with AMP Trading, and because Stage 5 doesn't support them anymore, and I wanna keep working with Stage 5 and support them because I'm part of Convergent Trading. I am on their membership site, and FT Futures Trader 71, so I want to continue to support that, and I like their tools and stuff. They have some things that other brokers they don't seem to have, like the trade analyzer, but basically that's what's going on. So anyway, this morning I tried to place my first trade at about 7:40, and the new demo I set up wasn't configured to execute orders, so it errored out. And before I get too ahead of myself, I took 5 trades, which should have been 6, and the first one too was somewhat of an error. Maybe jumping in when I shouldn't have. So I would call that an error trade. It wasn't a very good setup at all, and I'm not saying that just because it was a loss, but trade number 3 here shows a loss of 3 because of slippage and being on demo. I had that at +1, and because of slippage, I think that it definitely, so that I consider that a break even and not a loss. So three wins, 1 loss, and a break even. And the trade that I took in the morning, the setup, was a very nice, it would have been a nice win, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I want to look at the price action for the day and see what I was looking at first thing in the morning. So this is what I was coming in this morning at about 6 a.m. So I could tell that price was back down. Let's just go back actually to our daily too. You can see here we're still chopping around in this value here. Price is still trying to figure out what it wants to do. So once again we're down from Friday. We're back down in this previous value area where we've been since all last week, all of this price. So we had a couple of days where price tested higher. If we had Friday here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all last week, we thought possibly it was going to move up. But here we are, Monday, the overnight trade, you can see, was up here. So overnight high was way up here, 52.80. And by the time I hit the charts, we were already down here. 6 a.m. we came up and kind of tested this yesterday's low area and continued to push down. By the time the market opened, it looked like we were going to be definitely breaking down. Overnight low was here. So we were either going to be in the yesterday's or Friday's, somewhere right on the edge of Friday's value, but it seemed like we had a good chance of pushing down to test and stay below that area. So 6, I'm watching, we get this really nice push down, 6:30. So right now I'm expecting us to be in some kind of balance until we test either this low or kind of test this yesterday's low, this Friday's low, and to see how we treat those highs, or even this high here. this 415 and deal with this imbalance this big imbalance push from 315 in the morning. So what happens is we get this on this 15-minute bar. We get that's after the market opens. So let's go back to the 3-minute because that's mostly what I'm watching. And you can see the balance here better as well. So let's look at this. I'll set this so you can only see what I'm looking at in the morning. So this is what the volume profile looked like in the morning. So mostly the auction is right around here. We're looking at this as value, 6 o'clock, and then we get this imbalance pushed down. And to me, it looks like now we're holding this. So now I'm watching to see if this underside of value is going to hold, because if it does, I want to be short to test this low that we put in here right at the open. And so if we hold this, my bias is short already. So at 740 around here, I'm looking at this, you can see this kind of this flip zone here. I'm looking for this to be tested. I like this area to get short, and I tried to get short about 742 after this price, this move up. You can see, we'll switch over to Bookmap and see what that looked like as well. So you can see this previous high here at about 735. So right away, what I'm looking at is once we come above here on decent volume, that buyers were weak there at that point. So I want to get right about here, about 60, right in this 62, 60-ish area. You say, well, can this have held this high and pushed back up? But yeah, it could have. But what I'm thinking at that point, we have all of this value here, with all of this value, this structure, and the volume profile that's going to act as resistance. So at that point, and all of this too, you see this auction here. This didn't reject price hard at this low, and you can see that. I was really watching that. And see, look at this. When we have a strong low, we're not going to see two-way auction at the low here. So my trade setup on this is that we reject this upper side of value, and that we're going to come back down to test this low and likely break this low. So that was my setup, and it would have been a beautiful, about 62 down to the low was at 32. So at least I could have easily got my 20 off. But I also went back to trading multiple lots today. It just seems that I constantly get trades that I'm plus 10. I have a positive expectancy on those trades, and I'm taking them off at break evens or losses. So if I can get a multiple lot position on, I can take one off and kind of change that theoretical average and give myself more room on the other lot, and also give it a little more. I give my losses a little more room and make a little profit in the meantime as well. So it worked out well on that trade. So can't say it worked out because I didn't take it, but that was the setup, and I could show you on the order entry on the platform where that was where that entry was not accepted. 811, tried to get short, and I think I was frustrated about missing this nice win, because after we come down here, you can see that we test back down like I had said. This was my expectation, to come down and test this low. We had a real weak test here, a strong rejection, showing to me that sellers were not strong here, and a solid push back up. So I think basically what I was doing is I was expecting again this area to hold, but maybe you can see something a little better on the 1 minute chart. 811. I don't know why this order, it never goes away, and it's not showing my other orders, but 811. So we get the strong push up. I think I'm trying to fade this again. Unfortunately, it does not work out for me at all. It basically goes against me immediately. I never get any favorable excursion on that trade, +1. So I entered, basically right here, and never got a chance to get my risk off, or it never. And then it just came back up, and doesn't have to go too far to rip me out. So that was I really do consider that an error trade. So, and 835, you can see I took a long trade because my bias should be long here after this rejection of this low. So 835. I'm looking for us to test this. We've rejected this low, so my next expectation is to test the upper side of this and move back up into this balance area. $835. So we've broken above that. $835. So I wasn't in before this, so we tested the low side. So let's go. We tested the low side of that, and my expectation is to break up through that balance to test the high of that little balance zone. So we're up here about 830, 835. So we kind of test this low side, pop back down through this, and this is what I triggered off of. 835 long. And this is that's a 2-lot trade too. So I didn't have to get too much. So when we push down here, we push down below this area on volume. Seller's not interested again. I get long in here for a run up into this top side of this little balance zone. The nice thing too about when you're trading multiple lots, you don't have to get a 20 tick move to have a decent win. 8:59 right at 9 o'clock. I tried to get long again. We'll go back to 8:59. $8.57, so that's after this move down. So on this push down into this is a pullback, a breakout pullback trade, right back into this where this imbalance move up came from. I'm expecting this to hold. So I get in around here. And this is, kind of not a great, my idea didn't work out very well. I was able to get my risk off to break even when we pushed up here, up into here, and broke this. You'll be able to see this better on, this is where I entered here. This is the pullback for the entry right around here. Now when we broke this bar high here, we didn't get any movement here, and this is when I de-risked on this, on this push right here up, and then that's when it took me out. Fortunately, because my idea didn't work out, and my expectation was to move back up to where this imbalance came from. But, got my risk off. The idea didn't work out, so rather than taking a loss, I'm happy to take a BE on that one. So 925 long. $925 long is a failure of these lows to push back up. Right here, I think. Yep. See this push down here below these lows to go back up and push up into this area to catch this the upper side of this little value area right here. And I got that off for not a great win for 925. Oh, that was actually short. 925. Excuse me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so now from this, after this long here, my expectation is to go back and test the lower side of value here. So 925, I enter about right here. Sometimes these don't look that, they don't look as good as they would when I'm actually looking at them. And Bookmap is involved as well, and sometimes I see something else that I'm not showing or not seeing on the 1 minute or the 3 minute chart. And then 25 we get short. I don't know. I'm confused on this trade. I don't even understand what the hell I did or how I pulled anything out of this, but anyway, we'll skip it. 1040 is the next one. 1040 we went +8. That was on a short as well. $10.40. And so my bias is short now because of this. We tested this upper side here and failed all of these highs and worked our way down. So that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get a short down to test back down into these lows, possibly to break that. So I also added a little bit of some number bars, which is a way for me to see order flow as well here, which was nice. It was helpful today to be able to see inside the bars what was going on. I don't necessarily take specific setups off of these number bars, but I can see, like when we get a big imbalance here off of this, like a big push down like that, then we see this is like a nice flush, a real big flush here. I mean, there's nothing on the offer side at all. So there's a lot of things that you can do with these number bars that you can't see in a traditional candle. But that's about it. I'm not going to blabber on too much more, but overall much better day than previous. Looking at this, I did tend to take a little more adverse risk on some of these. You can see I have some fairly large drawdowns on these trades. Like for this last trade is not good. I got lucky on that, really. And adding that second one, it's like averaging down. Did that work? It worked out for me this time, but it could have been dangerous. It's a real fine line between averaging down and adding to a loser, or knowing where it makes sense to do that to get a better position for your trade. So the result overall was decent today. I felt good about it. I left some opportunities out on the table, and I had a few errors, and because of the execution on the platform, but I'm optimistic. That's all I'll say. So thank you.